Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino, just making sure everything's okay with my setup this morning. All right, good morning, Patrick, Sterling. Oh, I gotta say good morning to Sterling first. There you go. Good morning, Sterling. Good morning, John. Good morning, Trading Price and Time. Let's see what else we have, Sterling, with a lot of news. You really gonna think they're going to tell us the truth about anything right now? But we do not need to worry. Do you know why? Today is National Banana Bread Day. Who's celebrating National Banana Bread Day? I mean, really, does that not describe everything that's going on? We got to celebrate National Banana Bread Day. I think we have too many days of banana bread or muffins or whatever days we need. We should have like National Pizza Day, maybe a donut day, fine, but not banana bread day. But we might as well just buy NVDA and all just go home. Just buy NVIDIA. It's party like it's 1999. Party on. Wayne's World, party on. This can keep going, so don't try to call a top. Just keep going with it. It'll end at some point. But remember, you can give up a lot of very good trades, a lot of the trend, until it ends. All right, there's no, like, if you take 10 winning trades and keep trailing, and then, oh, well, the top comes in and you take one or two losing trades, let's say, you're still coming out ahead if you manage your stops and you use targets to at least raise your stop levels. That's my advice. There might be a topping pattern that triggers. It might be a big one at some point. It's just not yet. Remember, the potential patterns we keep having don't keep triggering. So go with the Cocoa flow. NASDAQ 20K. Where's Cocoa? Cocoa, NASDAQ 20K. We're at 18 now. 5,100 in the S&P, and I'm citing the futures. What was the NVIDIA was up like 16% yesterday? One stock to rule them all. Let's just go with that one stock to rule them all. This is so, and I said on, what was it? The last time I was on with Bob and Jim, I said this was really reminding me of the .com again, and it's now just we're getting so focused. Like the .com it was Sun Microsystems, Cisco, even Red Hat. People were chasing Red Hat, which has now been bought, but you literally have a freeware Linux, and it was trading at absurd valuations. So it's reminding me about that same time. So you go with it until it ends. But just remember, use your stops. Where else do we sit? Good morning, Royal Palms. Grand Rising, Christoph. Sure, well, I gave a bunch of thoughts. Good morning, Jake. I just gave you a bunch of thoughts. Nothing beats gas station food except you do not eat sushi from a gas station. That would be my advice. Gas station sushi is a no. Good morning, Anissa. Hey, there he is. Guaranteed. You're looking for 24K now. It's guaranteed. Coco is guaranteeing 20K. Thank you for tuning in, Coco. So you might as well load up. Again, don't take financial advice. This is not a financial advice. We're learning how to trade and invest and market techniques. And do not take financial advice from anyone in the chat because they are not managing your money. Coco's not managing your money. Sterling's not managing your money. I'm not managing your money. Anissa's not managing your money. You're responsible for your investments and your decisions. That's why you are here, to learn how to do that better, not to rely on other people just to blindly say something. Come up with your own analysis and execute the plan. By the way, in news, we have rig counts today. So nothing. There's nothing. In other news, NVIDIA up another 2% this morning. Microsoft, Apple, Meta's breaking out. Looks like remember, we never hit that breakdown level. This is now looking like it's trying to break out. Tesla's down a slight bit. Amazon pulling back a bit. Google, what a nightmare their AI stuff is. What else do we have? Lilly Keep an eye on Lily. It's getting into short-term double top territory. Does not mean it has to reverse, but it is. If you've been trading Lily to the long side, a great level now to possibly trail a stop. Energy pulling back today with crude's pullback. Groups, let me just refresh this real quick. We got technology leading up 58 basis points, energy lagging down 67 basis points, but pretty much everything. Look, we had the pharmacy system, major pharmacy system on the East Coast hacked yesterday. We had all the cell phone noted now, but everything's fine. Do not worry. Do not worry. Just buy NVDA, and all will be fine in the world. That was sarcasm. We're still at 3 cuts this year, so agreeing with a lot of the Fed speakers still stating, yes, we're cutting. We're cutting later in the year. And Powell was stressing before 3 rate cuts, and we were at 3 rate cuts. So the market's pretty much in alignment, and then a 4th starting next year. Fear and greed, in extreme greed. The what is the Shiller PE ratio? 34-24. But does it have to stop? No. Can it keep going up to nosebleed territories? Yeah. All right. I'll give you an example. We had Block and Carvana yesterday. Carvana was a miss in EPS, miss in revenue. Gapping up today. Here you go. Like, let's just party with Carvana. And Block was a miss in EPS, slight beat in revenue, and that is another gap up. So again, buy everything. I did not actually look at Warner Brothers Discovery this morning, but that's so. All right, got to keep updating the levels pretty quickly. So we had 50.99 to 51.07. We stopped yesterday after getting to a high of 51.07.75. We pulled back and closed at 5,097.75. So that was our target area yesterday. We have to take those levels off. The next major target area is not until about 51.33, 34. So just go 51.35, roughly in that area. That's it for today. There are no major pausing bars. You can see here we had a sideways correction. Remember, there are 2 kinds of corrections. This was a sideways correction. If you look at the weekly, you see a pausing week and then the breakout week. If you look at the daily, never closing below the rotation zone and pretty much, higher lows here, sideways correction. Not every pullback has to be, or not every correction has to be a pullback. Learn that distinction. So, key today, if we do start getting some profit taking, a couple key things I'm watching is yesterday's closing area on any pullback, around 50.95 to 50.97, and then the minor pullback level is 5100, 5101. Other than that, if you're going to try to do something aggressive to the upside, it's not till 5126. We really don't have any target areas till at least 5126, and that's a weak target. The stronger target is 5135. Good morning, Heinrich. So what do we have here? You're buying naked calls and going to sleep? I hope you're kidding. I hope you're kidding. Who else? Getting bullied up, don't look down, but going into scary levels. NVIDIA going to the moon and my penny stocks are dying. Stop trading penny stocks, dark screen sleep. Penny stocks are what people use to try to do something to get rich, okay? It is not a good investment. Sorry, I got to just deal with one thing. It's not a good investment strategy. Please stop with the penny stocks. You learn to trade. I'd rather have you trading something like NVIDIA because at least you can get in and out and it moves. That's not a recommendation to jump in NVIDIA, but oh boy. You and I hate Carvana, but it has a huge amount of inverse head and shoulders that is above trigger line with the gap up. Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's celebrating even a miss. You got to go with the technicals. Go with the technicals. You got to go with the technicals because insanity can keep going. All right, like this market, look, you don't even have S&P. Where's your weekly reversal pattern? There isn't one. Yeah, weekly cycles are at the top again. This was the last dip, the sideways correction. Can we get another one? Yeah, but we're back into massively overbought. What? Look at the two down weeks. You had to be a 1 week from the potential short side. Will we get a bigger correction? Yeah. When? Who knows? It could just be an event coming out of nowhere, which can't be predicted. And if you don't even have a pattern, watch for the secondary reactions. Remember, like SMCI, there's not much to talk about with the overall indices. I'll just go over some key levels. So SMCI, little mini double gapping up yesterday, but this is another. Remember, this is the secondary reaction. Actually closed above the 62.5 and hit the 75. That putting it in potential double top territory. Does that mean it has to reverse? No. Could it keep going to take out new insane highs? It could. That's why you do your projections. Okay, but it now is in potential double top territory, so there's a potential key reversal, but that doesn't mean it has to trigger. Lily, don't know if there's any Lily traders in here. What am I watching for? We're going to probably have another gap up. This is this. Remember, I talk about the secondary reaction. So this was the primary reaction. This now is a secondary reaction. Not yet closing above the 62.5. If it were to roll over here and then break down, this is still going to be the key point, about 732. However, if it closes above 62.5, it still is the magnet price. And this is a little thing I also want to state. Remember, a close above 62.5, the levels go to 75, 87.5, 100, and then potential breakout. And those are levels to watch for targets. Now, once it's above the 75, we qualify for double top. That does not mean the double top has to trigger. It can just keep going because you're above the 62.5. But this is what I talk about with a secondary reaction. So that's why, because that's where you get these key patterns set up. So that gives a great level to trail. Anyways, personally, I'd be trailing with a close below 732 either way at this point. And an aggressive trail would be actually a close below Thursday's low because you have a gap left behind that could take you down here. But that's an example of a secondary reaction. The NASDAQ. This was the primary reaction that turned into the flag. This was a secondary reaction that yesterday went insane with NVDA, up nearly 3% in the futures. But look, right through to the 87.5 to the 100. Okay? So here, there's a secondary reaction. Now, is this in potential double top territory? Yes, it is. So this is your key level. But this may never trigger. That's why I have targets on higher. We break out above 18,121. We have 18,215. Then we have a major cluster right around 18,300 to 18,345. 18,308 to 18,345 is a major area. We still have daily cycles going up. Key thing I'd be watching on any pullback is roughly the 18,050. The major support level is 17,950. There you go. So, all right. The Dow, again, breaking out yesterday. Coming up, 39,225 area, 226 area. That's your target. Beyond that, you have 39,439. Until that, your major support or minor supports yesterday closing area and yesterday's close to today's low, and then your major support is back at the breakout level with the rising rotation zone, which is roughly right around 38.9. The Russell, dependent on SMCI. Still holding the channel flag pattern. It's only if we start closing below that and the 50 that it really starts dumping again. And then I'd be seriously focused on the 200. But until that happens, the Russell's not the first thing I'd be looking for bullish plays. That's the first thing I'm still looking for any bearish plays. VIX, we're dropping back down. Still elevated volatility. So there's still, but if this really starts dropping below about 1380, really watch for index vol funds to start really ramping into it again. The DAX, 17430 was the next target area, spiking through it and closing just below it. If it keeps on marching, 17740, roughly 17735 to 17740 is the next major target. These are areas to keep raising stops. Your key breakout area is now roughly back at about 17160. Notes, not much going on. Still just slowly, I'm just keeping an eye on this little trend line for any pop into resistance. Other than that, still watching for the lower price action in that. And the yields, watching still to get 4.395. Watching the rising rotation zone in this little upwards trend line. That's it. 10-2s back below the first target. And still, we could see some more downward pressure on that because everything's fine in the world. What else do we have? What else do we have? Hold on one second. We have the dollar index. The big bounce back yesterday, closing well above the 200. Still watching for this to potentially, I'm not expecting it today, but if we do start breaking yesterday's high, we could resume the bullish mode. Other than that, still on a closing basis, 103.20. 103.17 to be exact. Crude reversal against key resistance, but the key support is still 76.34, so nothing but short-term trades here. There's no great pattern just set up right there. Natty gas, again, this is the secondary reaction. Primary reaction was the bounce. Secondary reaction to see where this pullback leads. So we're going to be watching 1.623 on the closing basis. Close below that, we'll be watching for a retest of the low area. What would put it in double territory would be 1.59, but then it would have to reverse back up. That's key example, secondary reaction. That's why you can be patient. Remember, we're trading against a major support area, but it's an area. Gold. This is actually sort of basing against this 50% retracement area. So if we start popping through it, the next area is then 2050, and then it has to close above that. Otherwise, if it starts making back below 2025, not bullish in gold in the short term. This so far is a sideways base right at a key level. Silver, which triggered, still no close. If it closes below 22.52, then it's a failed double pattern, and that was triggered on a weekly basis, so it needs a weekly close below that. Although I'd really be getting edgy on a daily close below that, or if it trades below 22.34.5, it would be a failed pattern. Does not need to close below that level. So yen still rotating up and in daily double top. Not a major pullback, but that would take it back to the prior breakout level. You see here, back to the weekly rotation zone, but not yet triggering, still with upwards momentum. Euro, yesterday closing back below the 200. Really interesting to see where this closes today in relation to about 108.26. Other than that, there's not a great setup there yet. Pound, this is just really, it's a sort of arcing channel pattern, but a watching to see if it really gets close. There's not. We'll talk about that when it starts happening. There's nothing to trade off of that from my perspective. Bitcoin still holding the key support level. So this so far is a sideways correction. Now, in order to resume, it's really got to get above 52.3. And then the next magnet price for that is what? Is 55.6. So, spiders going through to the 506.70 yesterday with the key gap up. 509.33. The next major target area is 512.95. Okay, the next minor target, well, the next key area, because I went back to this major swing low to this sideways correction high. That gives 508.13. which we're pausing at. So this 506 to 508 was key. And then we have the major cluster up here. Other than that, it's in no man's land. So I'd be watching this 508 to yesterday's close, 507.50 as the key support. The breakout level is about 502. Other than that, the key target, my key target, which would be to take further action, would not be till about 312 unless we got a topping pattern in front of there. The Qs, 441.93, 444.73 are the next two targets higher. Pullback level would be to yesterday's close, 438.07. And then roughly right below that, 436.80. What else have I missed? Hey, Christoph. Let me look at AAP. Then we'll look at some other stuff. AAP. Oh, how did I get Apple? I thought I typed AAP. AAP. Very key support right around the 60 to 60.20 area. Double topped here. It was a very sloppy double top, but and that's completed. So double top right at that next area. So it only hit the second target and pulling back, but you know what? Then that was off a weekly pattern. Technically, is that the weekly invalidated? No. But you start breaking down, the next key levels are 58, 59, and 55.88. It closed below 55.88. And would I be riding this pattern all the way back down, hoping it eked out this? No, I would not. But this is at a very key support level going into earnings. Remember, earnings are on next Wednesday. All right. What is the strategy here? Buy strength or relative weakness? It's only if there's only a setup. I mean, we have things like Meta potentially breaking out. Remember, you got to go with the trend until the trend ends. And Meta never closed below the key level and looking to break out now. So that could be a short-term play. Would I get married to it? No. I think it's still chasing momentum. I'd rather be chasing stuff like, I don't want to use the term chasing, but I'd still be looking like at a play in Meta personally before I'd be looking at Apple. All right. Apple is more of a bounce play unless it can really start getting some traction. I'd be looking at something, again, Amazon still basing at the top. As long as Amazon doesn't take out close below 165.74, still potentially plays for a breakout play. Be rather looking to things that are so far on the bigger time frame had sideways corrections and poised to potentially break out. That's what I would be looking for, rather than trying to buy a lot of weakness right now. Apple needs some catalyst to get under it, like Tesla's another example. Tesla, yeah, but this is only a bounce play in a bigger bearish pattern. All right, so would I be looking at Tesla first to the upside? No. Tesla and Apple would be way down the list. Does that mean they can't rally? Sure, they can rally. Excuse me. But they're still weakness plays. All right. Let's just peek into the open. And then I'll take a look at a couple other things. And then, so far, this is going to be key based off this price action, the open, to see, on any pullback, depending on where the tick opens, pullback, and then seeing how that pullback reacts based off this kind of run-up pattern into the open. GILD. Guild's not doing anything, still holding. Again, this would be fascinating on a little bounce play. Like, would I be looking to buy this aggressively? No. I'd be looking for rollover plays on GILD. It triggered the massive double top pattern, holding the weekly 200. Would not be surprised to see a bounce in this, but then a rollover play potentially. And then GIS. And then we're calling it General Mills is looking. Now this again looks like it's trying to put in a longer term bottoming pattern. Major sell off, sort of a sideways base. Could it be? I mean, and that's so you're going to be watching about 67.80 for that key area. Let's just take a look at how the tick opens, and I got to run. The tick, not a strong opening. Not a strong opening. It doesn't mean so. I'd be watching to see how the S&P reacts on any pullback. Especially first area would be on the 5-minute rotation zone. That's what I'd be watching. And then roughly if it pulls back more, back to that 508 level. 508 to about 509 at this point. If it can get, because that I would not be, personally, I do not like to chase something like that with a weak tick into the open. I like to watch for the pullback level and see how the tick reacts. That's how it sits today. Hope some of this, these thoughts have helped anybody. That's the goal of this channel. And take responsibility for your own trading and investing and make it your own. And remember, sometimes no trade is the best trade. That's still a trade. It means you're flat. Yeah, Meta, there we go. Meta breaking out. Yep. Keep an eye. I was looking at that earlier today. I've actually got to jump now into the open, but really nice sideways correction. Could be running up. You know, even though it's overbought, things can get still more overbought. Remember, don't get scared of overbought. Yes, you have to know where your stops are because overbought can suddenly reverse. But remember, like here in Meta, here was your weekly. Look how many weeks it stayed overbought and just stared a step higher. Then it pulled back only on a sideways correction and went higher. So could it do that again? Yeah. So just keep that in mind. You're welcome, Anissa. Is it guaranteed? Do we guarantee anything? The markets have no guarantees. Only Coco has guarantees. So that's why you always use stops, because any trade could turn into a loser. Even the best looking trade, even the best pattern can turn into a loser at any moment. So therefore, you cut your losses, let your winners run, and I'll talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful, fantastic weekend. Bye for now.